How about them Cowboys? How about Tyron Smith, which unbelievably retired as a Dallas Cowboy. It's really sad to see in many ways because Tyron Smith was my one of my favorite players of all time. I don't know what it is. Sometimes when you're watching NFL and it's the unexplainable. I'm a Jets fan, and for some reason, Tyron Smith's one of my favorite football players. I just love the way he played. Does that make any sense? There's certain guys where it doesn't matter. I'm a fan of every single football team, and that's why I like to do all these 'cause it's so much fun. But it's like I had no association with this guy. I just love watching him, and I thought he was one of the best tackles, not of just this generation, of all time. He is just unbelievable. Big, huge fan of Tyron Smith, and as I talk about as a Jets fan, I was super pumped up to get Tyron. It didn't quite work out. I mean, at the same time, it did because he got old. He developed Olaf Jean. I'm sure he helped in behind the scenes, all those sort of things. Just want to say that. Oh, I love Tyron Smith. Now I'm sad. I need to get his jersey. But let's get why you're here. We got the Dallas Cowboys mock drafting today. Let's take a look at this roster first and foremost. And look at this offensive line right here, which you know, it's okay. Like in general, I think their offensive line just needs some more development. I can't wait to see what Brian Schottenheimer and people talking, oh, this is, not a good hire. And I actually kind of like Schottenheimer. I think he'll do a good job. And in general, maybe it's a little bit of a safe hire, but at the same time, I think he's going to do a good job. So let's get back to this though. In the offensive line, their interior to me looks solid. Came away super impressed watching the games this season from Brock Hoffman, Cooper Beebe, obviously Tyler Smith's a stud, one of the best guards in the NFL, if not the best guard in the NFL. So, like, just looking at Brock Hoffman, I know people say, oh, we need to upgrade here. I certainly think that Brock Hoffman can be a starter. And you can't always have first, second round offensive linemen. Like, you have to be able to develop some of these guys later in the drafts and UDFA wise, et cetera. I think Hoffman's a hit, and he's somebody that I would want to go out there and start. But you have Robert Jones, who they brought in, and he's going to compete with him and give you more competition, give you some more depth, because Hoffman can also play center. I imagine they're, at least the talks right now, is they're going to keep BB at center, which I'm fine with. I have no problem. I thought he, getting got better and better, and as he gets a full off season, should be just fine there, and he has some upside for sure. So this interior looks pretty good. Tyler Guyton's going to get a contract. Brock Hoffman will be a free agent, so that's something to consider. I don't think he'd be super expensive, barring like an insane season, like a Will Fry sort of scenario. Guards are getting paid, so that's something to consider. But overall, I would say guards more of a late need. I'd still invest in since they don't have a whole ton of guards under contract, and that would be the only thing that I would mention there. Tackle is really my main priority here in the draft. It's not an early priority. They've got other needs that they need to fill. Tyler Guyton, your hope is that he can develop. Like that is key. That is priority one here in this tackle room. Terrence Steele maybe can be a less level of liability in pass blocking next season. Run blocking is great. I mean, he's really good. He's one of the better run blocking tackles actually in the NFL. It's just pass blocking is such a liability for him. So he's just kind of stabilize a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just got to level it out a little bit there. So we'll see what happens. Asam Richard, though, a good solid swing tackle. I would say you invest in a tackle, and they can move Guyton over to right tackle. So I'm not like super worried about drafting a right tackle specifically, left tackle, whatever. Just trying to draft a developmental tackle in here somewhere on day 3 makes a lot of sense with one of their picks. Going on to the wide receiving in the tight end room now. This is an area they need to improve, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And I'm sure you're going to see in like all the mock drafts, it's like, let's go get a wide receiver. Let's go get McMillan or Golden or one of those guys, right? And I may be honest, there may not be a whole differences here, giving spoilers away, but you've probably seen the thumbnail. You know what's going on out here. Should change up the thumbnail all of a sudden. He's sneaky, right? I like to be sneaky out here with my titles and stuff, not give anything away. We're brass tacks. And then you look at this though, CeeDee Lamb, number 1 wide receiver. Kavontae Turpin, I like him a lot as your speed gadget guy. Let's get the ball in his hands more this year. Come on, Schottenheimer. I can't wait to see what he does. And Jalen Tolbert, not bad. I mean, he has moments throughout the season. Ideally, he's a number 4 wide receiver. They brought in Jonathan Mingo. Do I feel great about that? No. You got guys like Ryan Flournoy and Jalen Brooks. Solid depth. But once again, do they need another weapon in here? Absolutely. I'm cool with McMillan as another like one-on-one 50-50 ball guy on the outside. I'm cool with Matthew Golden as well. He'd add some more speed into this room, route running ability. Either one of those guys, or even on day 2, you could look at either one of those Iowa State kids. Like great options, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, plenty of good options on what they want to do, but I do think wide receiver is still another priority in this offense. They got to add another weapon. They got to add a running back as well, of course, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is Schottenheimer. I mean, Schottenheimer loves to run the ball. You look throughout his history, he's had one of the top running games throughout his career, so maybe he prioritizes running back a little bit more, but no matter what, I mean, if Genty's there, then that's going to be the pick. I just don't think Genty makes it to 12. Tight end wise, I'm not super worried about this. This is probably not a huge need. Ferguson is going to a contract year, and that's why I listed as a possible late round type of throw at it. But they've got Bourbon Span Ford as a UDFA, as a good blocking number 3. You got Luke Schoonmaker, who did play better at the end of the season. I mean, it was rough there, and it's been rough, and then he finally got it going. So the hope is that he can continue to ascend in the right direction. And Ferguson bounce back, stop fumbling so much. On to the running back room, which we just alluded to. This is a huge need. Even though you got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, that was kind of the base minimum. And I like Williams. I still think he's a solid number 2 running back in the NFL, somebody that can come in there, play pass downs. He can pass block. He's a tough runner. So, yeah, I'm fine with the signing. It's not super expensive. It's a 1-year contract. Miles Sanders, good depth, which was a huge problem for them. I mean, they went into the season with Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott. Like, that's really what it was. And you knew that was a bad idea. So now at least they've got more depth. Still need to invest a pick into this. This is something that of course, if Genty is there, an option. If Amari Hampton's there, one of those tops back in the second round, I'm cool with that as well. Second, third, fifth round, or maybe a trade up into the fourth round with one of those day 3 picks. They've got plenty of them. They could do something like that into the fourth round if they have a guy in their minds. On it to the quarterback room, it's not a need. Dak Prescott, I mean, I'm sure Cowboys fans are going to say, oh, this is a need. What are you talking about, G-Sling? But Joe Milton traded, so I'm excited about that, right? A little Joe Milton conversation or controversy doesn't hurt. I like a little drama out here. Bet it up, but MTV style, we got it going. But Joe Milton going to be a nice solid backup for them. And just in case, right? Just in case Dak Prescott continues to struggle, got to play better this season, man. Just has to play better, especially reading zone. I think reading zone coverages has been one of his big things under pressure and whatnot. On to the defense side, and you look at the defensive line where, ooh, wow, you got Micah Parsons, of course, going to get paid here very, very soon. You got Dante Fowler, Marshawn Leland should step up this season, be more of hopefully a DeMarcus Lawrence replacement for them. Sam Williams gets healthy. Those are kind of your 4 main rotational guys. Then you got Peyton Turner, former first round pick with a lot of tools, hasn't been able to stay healthy, so that's going to be a big key. But once again, it is a prove it 1-year deal. Very, very cheap, minimum sort of contract. I like the signing, and I think they're in a pretty good spot here. Now, free agency wise, all these guys are, except for Marshawn Leland is a free agent. Micah Parsons, they're going to re-sign him. I don't care. I would not trade him. That's just me personally. I would sign him, no question about it. On the interior, this is more of where the need plays out, right? They need to invest here. This is somewhere anywhere from like round 2, round 3, all the way to round 4. Once again, maybe they trade up with one of those day 3 picks, go and get a 4th round defensive tackle, a really good run defender. Very much in the cards for this team. Like, they have to do that. They have to be able to get more help in there with Mozzie Smith. Obviously, Osa Digazua is going to solidify that 3 tech for this defense and Matt Eberflus, which is key. And you just know that's a big part of Matt Eberflus and what he likes in a defense and a defensive line specifically. And you got Solomon Thomas, who will be a nice situational pass rusher. And the thing here, like I mentioned, they need more depth in that 1 tech run stopping ability other than Mozzie Smith. And obviously Mozzie Smith has struggled in that department, and there's still room to grow. It takes time as a defensive tackle to get that grown man strength. So come on, Mozzie, you got this. I ain't giving up on you, I promise, but definitely going to improve and got to add somebody, maybe add another veteran too as a possibility. But edge-wise, probably a day 3 pick. Interior defense line, day 2, early day 3. Let's go on to the linebacking room now, where it's just unfortunate. You got DeMarvion Overshown, who's one of the better young linebackers in the NFL. And it is a tough position, right? You're putting your body on the line. You're putting yourself, and you're trying to, like, I want to hit these guys. And I love Overshown. He's so much fun to watch. He is just so dynamic. He can cover as well. So it's just like, can he stay healthy? That's the big thing. Do they need to add some depth? Probably. Damone Clark may not be on the roster. He's going to compete, but they may cut him to save $3 million. It's definitely an option. It's just going to depend if Eberflus can get the most out of him and what he sees. They brought in Jack Sanborn, some familiarity with him from the Bears. Kenneth Murray was a trade. I'm guessing that Murray will end up starting, especially with his contract. He's going to start in Overshown's place, and then Maurice Luafau. I am a fan of Luafau. This was one of those guys that I coming out of Notre Dame, I was kind of pounding the table for him. Like, watch out for Luafau. I love the name and also love the player. He was making plays as a blitzer at Notre Dame all the time, and he can cover as well. Like, he can cover some ground. I fully expect him to take that next year leap as well. And he looked pretty dang good as a rookie, too, from my eyes. I thought he made some plays. So keep an eye on Luafau as a breakout year 2 candidate. and Murray. Those two will probably be starting early. Jack Sanborn could even get on the field pretty early as well, especially for injuries and whatnot. But hopefully Overshown stays healthy. This is probably a day 3 need, though. I would just say, since you got a lot of youth in here, I would be drafting somebody late. I don't think it's an early need. And then we go on to the secondary, the cornerback room we start off with. This is a room that might need to be rebuilt in many ways. Trevon Diggs, at this point, I'm worried. I mean, he's a good football player, and I actually think he'll be a better scheme fit for Matt Eberflus and his defense. It just comes down to the injuries. He's probably going to be on the pup list by the sounds of it, and may miss a couple of the weeks early in the season. Who knows how long he'll be out for? It could be longer than that. So that is very, very concerning. I'm guessing maybe the first 4 weeks of the season. So I want to make sure he gets fully healthy. You don't want to rush him out there, but at the same time, they need to address this cornerback room in the draft, maybe even in free agency still. So you look at Deron Bland, obviously locked in as one of your starters. He gets fully healthy now, and going into this next season, going to try to get paid contract year. I expect big things from him. You brought in Kaiir Elam. Okay, I like him as a number 4 corner, and especially at the season for showed the Bills really struggled there for them down the stretch. So that is something. He's got talent. At the end of the day, though, we need to upgrade. We need to add at least competition. You got Kalen Carson. Just don't know at this point. I mean, I thought Josh Butler had some moments there. Israel Mukwama, certainly a guy that could step up in the slot there for this football team. Can also play safety as well. Just not an overly dynamic athlete, but man, he can make some plays in the run game. So I got to shout out Mukwama. He's certainly a guy to keep an eye out on there that could end up playing in the slot position for this football team. But I would look to add competition in the slot / outside corner. I put Deron Bland in the slot just for a placeholder right now. I really think they want to keep Bland on the outside. At the same time, like, Bland could go back into the slot if they need to. And I would not pigeonhole drafting a slot corner. If the best available corner is, if like Benjamin Morrison's there or whatever, like you say, Trey Amos, I'm just drafting one of those guys in the first, second. Will Johnson, if you're happy, you're high on Will Johnson, go get him at 12. Like, I have no problem with that either. I could totally see this team doing that. Stick Bland in the slot back there, and Diggs hopefully gets healthy. But if Elam had to play the first 4 games, I'm okay with that. Like, we can figure it out. But corner's definitely another need. They need another starter in this room. Safety-wise, this is a future need, at least for the moment. Okay, it's still a need, though. I would still be prioritizing this. Donovan Wilson had a down season. Malik Hooker had a bit of a down season, in my opinion. I do feel like Eberflus will do a better job schematically and will help out these guys in that split zone defense, take a little pressure off of them. So Wilson, Hooker, and Wilson's a good player down the box. He'll make plays and whatnot. Very, very good tackler. And you got Marquise Bell, who might be the long-term safety for them. They gave him a contract extension, and he's certainly a guy that could also play hybrid linebacker too, give him a little bit of depth early on, especially if they need it. When Nia Thomas can develop, and if nothing else, he's a solid backup for them. And I do list Israel Mukwama as some more depth in the safety room. But I will be looking to draft somebody here on day 3, and especially with Eberflus, who seems to value safeties a lot more. I do think that's something. I know Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, it's not been a thing for them, and you have to go back for a long time. The last time I think it was like 2002 or whatever, that they drafted a safety. So it's been a minute, or highly, should I say. They typically try to get safeties late in the draft, and we'll see what they decide to do there. But I will be looking at safety at some point in this draft, at least adding some depth and some future. Both of these guys going into contract years. Well, sorry, Malik Hooker isn't, but Hooker could be cut after this season. Donovan Wilson, though, is a free agent and could be even cut before the season begins, possibly if they feel comfortable with a guy like Marquise Bell. Or the fun begin, though. It's draft time! And my first pick at number 12. Oh my gosh, I'm shocked. You picked Tetairoa McMillan? I like to call him Air McMillan. I know it is what it is, but he has that basketball background. We could call him Air McMillan. It's not an insult to Michael Jordan. Air McMillan lives up to the name. I think he can. He's a great football player, and I think he's the highest floor prospect of any of these wide receivers in this class. He doesn't have the highest upside. I think Golden and some of these other guys, even like Kyle Williams, watch out for some of these dudes later on in day 2, day 3 that I think have some serious upside. Just maybe the lack of production. McMillan is a good football player. He lacks the ideal separation and an athletic profile, but he catches everything, it seems like. He's got enough separation skills because he's got quick feet. He really does. Like, he can separate, and I think people overlook that. He's not going to separate at a high level. I'm more worried about his getting off press coverage. That, to me, becoming available early in the route is going to be key for McMillan, and whether or not he has that number 1 wide receiver trajectory. Overall, he's a really good pick and a massive upgrade. On to our second pick, Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback from Notre Dame, one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. How is he falling this far? Unbelievable. It's pissing me off. I feel like I'm Fred Flintstone. I'm turning red, about to blow my fuse. Anyway, like Benjamin Morrison, he has got some of the most talented cornerback reps in this draft. So incredibly sticky in coverage, and his hips, a mechanic would be like, I'm giving this guy free oil changes. He's just so dang slippery. Like, there's just something about it, man. Mechanics be going wild when you got Benjamin Morrison up in that shop. Speaking of Morrison, isn't there a guy from like Gonzaga named Morrison back in the day? Oh, I see. I got basketball on my mind from Aaron McMillan, and now we're talking about Benjamin Morrison. So yeah, there was some guy who was really good. He had the big, big hair. He's classic. I don't know. I gotta have to go back to that one, but I believe his name was like Morrison or something. Maybe I'm losing the grip, losing the plot on this one. But Benjamin Morrison, second round pick. Go and put him in that secondary, man. If he can improve his run defense, actually, I think he'd be a great slot corner too for this defense and Matt Eberflus. On to round number 3, Dylan Sampson. If you're talking about that Tony Pollard-esque style of runner, look no further than Dylan Sampson. He's got the speed, he's got the explosiveness, and he just shoots out of a cannon. Every time he runs, man, he literally looks like he is just, they get the fuse going out there, and it's like, boom, he just explodes. So he's definitely somebody that's going to give him some more speed. Good pairing with Javante and also Miles Sanders in the running back room. And he's got some upside as a receiving back as well. He scored touchdowns in like every single play. Malachi Moore into round number 5 here, and Malachi Moore from Alabama, a guy that I think is super underrated in this draft class, somebody that could play in the slot too early on if they wanted him to. I like him better as a deep safety. I thought that was really where his best film was, and especially going into the season in Alabama, he looked very, very good and was very consistent as a tackler, consistent in coverage. He just really needs to be more in a split field safety role. That's my opinion. Either put him down, let him come down to the box, make a play, or let him be a split field defender. And in Eberflus's defense, perfect, exactly what he needs, and he's going to be a great fit. On to second, fifth round pick here, 174. Yeah, Black. Somebody from this defensive line from Iowa that gives you a good run defender. He's super stout at the point of attack, extremely good at stopping the run. Not going to have much pass rush. It's fine. He's just going to be a good number 2 behind Mozzie Smith. Give him a little bit of a push. Give him some help in that run game because that's what they need right now. They've got their pass rushers. Then you go on to Jack Nelson from Willie Nelson. I'm telling you, we got all the famous people out here. Georgia, Tennessee, or Texas, should I say? Texas or Dallas is on my mind. But Jack Nelson from Wisconsin, the Cheeseheads, going to be a good developmental offensive lineman. He's got the size. He's got the enough athleticism. His balance is his biggest concern for me. Just kind of, I like the way he moves. It's kind of funny. I don't know. He kind of gives me like old school vibes, the way he comes out of his stance, but his posture and balance certainly need to be improved. And that is going to be something that he'll have to continue to develop. I think he could be a great swing tackle. Whether or not he can play right side, that's a little bit unknown. He's played left tackle throughout his career. So there's that. He's also played right guard, though, in his freshman season. So, he's got the ability, I'm sure. And either which way, like I talked about, Guyton could always move to right tackle. Jack Nelson, draft and develop here. Go on to our next 6th round pick from Cal Poly, Elijah Ponder. I'm pondering this one in my brain because, and you might be too, if you're saying, who's this guy? I got to roll my hat. I got to roll my sleeves. What are you talking about here? Who's Elijah Ponder? Am I talking about, I don't even know, Christian Ponder, right? From a quarterback. Is he a quarterback? No, he's an edge rusher. And I think he's going to be a good developmental edge rusher who can take a chance on a guy with some tools. He's got really good athleticism, like 41-inch vertical, 4.6 speed. So the traits are there. I've been watching some of the highlights and watching some of the film, and certainly a guy that has some upside, and just drafting and developing guys. Like, that's what it comes down to. So that's why I'm taking a chance on another edge rusher here. We go on to our next pick, Jackson Woodard. I've watched a good amount of Woodard, and I'm a big fan of him. I also like Ricky White there at UNLV, but Woodard's the captain of that team, wears the green dot, and just kind of a leader on and off the field, and that's why I think he can bring a Jack Sanborn level of experience level, and it just give you some more depth. He's not going to be the most athletic, freakish guy, but I think he moves well enough in short space. Like, he can get up to top speed quick, even though his top speed isn't like super fast. But at least he can like move, right? He can do those short 5-yard bolts. He's not going to be the sideline to sideline mover or anything like that. But you got guys. You got to overshown. Hopefully, he gets healthy, of course, and whatnot. But Woodard can be a good, solid number 2 in the room in the backup position. And then we're going to Marcus Weir from Montana State. I was super impressed with this guy. Watching his, I have done a full deep dive on his film in the preseason, and then I watched him a little bit during the season, and I watched him at the Shrine Bowl, and I thought he was excellent. I thought he did exactly everything that I wanted to see from Marcus Weir. He's a small guy, okay? He's definitely on the smaller side. He's only got 31-inch arms, so some teams are going to take him off the board because of that. He may go undrafted as well because of that. But once again, like, he wins on film. He just knows how to rustle dudes. It is a little bit of a transition. I thought his tape at right tackle was better than a right guard, but ultimately, I think he could be a good developmental interior offensive lineman. It could end up being a backup center too for them, just adding some more depth on the interior of the offensive line. It's the way I'm looking at it, getting somebody that's under contract. Final pick of the draft, we're going with defensive tackle from Utah, Junior Tafona. and somebody just add some more depth on that defensive line. Like, I think they really are hurting for some depth on that interior, especially. So I figured double dip. Super scrappy. Didn't think he like destroyed anybody at the Senior Bowl, but he gave it all, and I think he's a super high motor player on film. He can stop the run and certainly can shoot gaps and things like. He's more of a disruptor in that regard as a run defender, but he can do what he can do. He's got some size limitations, but overall, I like the high motor, and I think he can be a rotational 100 snap type of player per year and just give you some depth on the defensive line. I could see them going another like cornerback there too. So I thought about some options. Overall, this draft wise, my view on this in terms of offense, what do they have to do? You can agree or disagree on players, and I totally understand. Like, you could say, let's go Matthew Golden instead of Tetsuo McMillan. We're higher or whatever. It's just going to depend on what Schottenheimer's going to want. And hey, I could totally see him, valuing running back. Or maybe they trade down and go grab a Marion Hampton in the first round. That's definitely an option for them as well. Like, they've got options in what they could do. And for me, someone like Tetsuo McMillan, Air McMillan at 12 is a great value. Even Matthew Golden, certainly great options. And depending on who you're higher on, like I said, but overall, adding another weapon into this offense is critical. At receiver, at running back, got to do those. And we also add Dylan Sampson. Plenty of good options in that second, third round, just depending on who's on the board, who do they like. But they do need to upgrade this, especially with Schottenheimer as the head coach now. Get that run game going. Offensive line, this I took more of a day three approach. While yes, they could invest. If BPA is if somebody falls to you that you're just too high on, then sure. But at the same time, like they got to draft and they got to develop some of these guys too. And your hope is that Guyton gets better. I think Hoffman's going to be a good football player for them. Cooper Beebe into year number 2. Hopefully, we can avoid some liabilities and Tyron Steele can get a little bit better in pass pro. Overall, their offensive line with some development. They've got a lot of youth, got to coach these guys up. But we'll get some more guys, like someone like a Jack Nelson, get a developmental tackle, get another interior offense lineman for some depth. And then we go on the defense side ball. My number one priority in the defense right now is grabbing a secondary. And I could even say a safety, depending if they move on from Donovan Wilson before the season, which I think they should just go and keep him. He's not bad or anything like that. He had a bit of a down season, like I mentioned, but overall, Wilson, Hooker, at least give you good experience, especially with a new defensive coordinator coming in here. Matt Eberflus want to have some continuity there, but you bring in some guys like a Malachi Moore who can develop and be a future player for them. Cornerback, though, is probably the number one priority on this defense, other than defensive tackle. You could make the argument defensive tackle as well, and I totally understand that. But for me, this cornerback room, they need to influx. They need some help here. They need to add some talent. Ben Morrison would be amazing. And just the guy that, I mean, just somebody like that, a Trey Amos, Ben Morrison, Siobhan Revel, whatever, like whoever they want to go after, I'm totally fine with that. There's a lot of options. Even if they want to go Will Johnson in the first round, I think that's a great idea as well. Plenty of ideas. Just go grab some help in this secondary early in the draft. That's a huge need for this team. And as I mentioned, interior defense linemen, we got 2 of them. Is it enough? We shall find out. But Yaya Black, definitely a guy that's going to help them out in the run game and stop the run. And then finally, we got Jackson Woodard as a developmental special teamer early on. And I figured it's like a Jack Sanborn understudy type of third linebacker, rotational player. That's really what I can see. And then that's it. That's kind of what we did here for the Dallas Cowboys. Certainly let me know what you think. Agree or disagree. What did I do? Tell me, hit me up, man. Did I screw it up for you? Hopefully not, but that is going to do it here for the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? How about this draft? Hope you guys have a really cool day. My name's Sheesling. I'm doing my thing. I'll talk to you.